drive, way back, it might be, it could be, it is. Holy cow! Welcome to another broadcast of Bricks Behind the Ivy.
Hey, Cub fans, welcome to another episode of Bricks Behind the Ivy. Thank you so much to our awesome sponsors, Wrigleyville Sports, the best sports store in Wrigleyville, and Yaggy Road Roasting Company, based in Valparaiso, Indiana, serving cups of coffee just as special as the moments you drink them in. Here's your host, Jeff Candid Cubs Rogowskis and Pat Erickson. Hey, welcome to a special episode of Bricks Behind the Ivy, as it is pitchers and catchers reporting day. We are finally here. This is
Thank goodness.
Exactly. By the time you listen to this podcast, the Cubs will have already had their first workout. Jed Hoyer will have already had his opening day or opening workout presser. We will be fully in the baseball season because there is literally nothing happening on this Sunday more important than that sporting event, and that is the Cubs getting to report to camp early because of how weirdly early their opening series is because of their trip to Japan. Pat, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing on this?
Here's to you, buddy.
Big game Sunday, because that word is branded and we could get copyright strikes for saying.
We usually call it the guys that work the stupid bowl. But anyway, Superb
owl is my favorite.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean it's going good. Looking forward to the game later today. Honestly, I really don't have a pull either way. I know I'm pulling for the Eagles a little bit. They got 7 because, as you all know, go Dogs. They got 7 Georgia Bulldog alumni on the starting lineup for the Eagles. So going for that. The other funny thing is driving around this week, listening to the score, and they were talking about all the crazy prop bets, and you can bet on the flip, the coin toss, and all this other stuff. And I guess the one that I just shook my head is if Chiefs win, it's a 5-1 odd that Travis Kelce will drop to a knee and propose to Taylor Swift on the field after the game. What has the NFL come to? Sweet mother of pearl. But yeah, who do you got?
Honest, part of me is like, I want to root for the Chiefs so that we can have Taylor get engaged, and then that just being over instead of the constant watch of what game she's attending, what she's not. Leave the poor girl alone. She's got plenty going on. We don't need to follow her over the place. But the other part of me is I want to see history in a three-peat. I don't want to root against a team, and understanding as Cub fans how quickly winning windows can fall apart, how special it is to see a winning window. Yeah. But I also have a new coworker at my job who's shout out to Grace if she actually listens to this, who just moved to Chicago from Philly, and she's so excited. And I have such an empathy or a passion for fans who love anything as much as I love the Cubs. So I just can't actively root against, because I know I'm going to have to see her this week at work. And if she's sad, I'm going to be sad, because I'm what if it was the Cubs? I would immediately understand what that feeling means. So go Birds, I guess. I don't know. That's
fly. But here's the more important question. We could take the teams, because I'm also a foodie. Kansas City chili or a Philly cheesesteak?
Oh man, I'm a picky eater, so I probably just go hungry, which is probably why I don't care about the Super Bowl at all, because it's baseball season, baby.
Love that. That's beautiful. But yeah, I tell everybody every year, they're all excited. Oh, it's the big game, it's big game, it's big game. And I said, yeah, I'm excited. Why? Because when it's over, it's baseball season. And thank goodness. And I'm sure all you folks have seen it on social media this week, of all the semis loading up everything over at 1060 West Addison, getting stuff ready to go on down there to start, filming and everything else. And I can't wait. I've already got the spring training schedule posted back here at the bar of where it's going to be on and what games and blah, 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 blah. And so it's good to have normalcy back in life right now with baseball.
Yeah, I think that's part of it's that time of year where my life starts to come back alive. I'm not a big winter guy. I struggle. The seasonal depression is heavy. I've been very open about like my struggle with anxiety and ADHD, and like those things just like are so much worse because it's dark all the time. But like, oh man, the hope springs eternal. Best shape of our lives, like phrases that we're gonna hear for the next few days, and I eat that stuff for breakfast, man. This is where I I come to shine. And yeah, somebody had tweeted out this morning, and I had already said they're like, oh, you know, like T-minus 12 hours for baseball fans to say, and now it's officially baseball season. And I retweeted, it's like, joke's on you, bro. It already is for Cub fans. Like, don't even need 12 hours. It's already here.
I love it. And it's
on that
every year we go to a neighborhood party for the Super Bowl. It's the big game. And
we didn't say
so
anything.
everybody's jersey down of the teams and blah, blah, blah. I own all jersey. And I get made fun of, and I don't care because it's baseball season. So let's go.
Oh, no, I'm already dressed. I go to my parents' house for the Super Bowl, and I'm already dressed for the Super Bowl. I'm wearing my Cubs jersey. Like, that's, and like, yeah, so that's what I do. I don't even have a Bears jersey right now because, like, I was like slowing down because I bought a Justin Fields jersey and I've bought a Mitch Trubisky jersey. So I'm like, maybe I'll wait this time. Like if he ends up being good, you're welcome, Chicago. I haven't cursed Caleb Williams just yet. But yeah, if you're listening to us or you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, review button if you're listening on the podcast channels, and let us know who you rooted for in the Super Bowl and why. Maybe there's a Cubs connection we're not hitting, but leave those comments below. But
maybe your favorite commercial. Who knows? Yeah,
exactly. Oh man, that actually, before we move on for the Super Bowl, I am that person. I'm the person who watches for the commercials. Yeah. And I have a weird pet peeve about the modern era of commercials. I hate that they release them before the Super Bowl.
Right? Because that's what you always had a chance to look
forward. What is the point? Like, what was like? I don't want to see them the whole the whole week all over the internet.
The big one.
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I've blacked out. I've blacked out the media for this purpose. I haven't seen it.
Just say it's a reenactment of a scene from a famous '80s movie.
Oh no, I've seen that one, the ET one.
No. Let's just say Billy Crystal might be in it. That's all I'll say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But they released it 3 weeks ago.
I'm gonna want what she's having.
Yeah, bingo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I do look forward to the commercials though. But yeah.
It's and like I'm a big movie guy too. If you can't tell by the rest of the Candid Cub Cave, like so, there's usually trailers and stuff that come with it, and like the new Superman movie sponsoring the Puppy Bowl, which like I love dogs, so the Puppy Bowl is more my jam than the Super Bowl. So yeah, like this is a great time to see like movies, like sneak peeks in the movies that are coming, and that's what I'm here for. And sometimes a halftime show. I will be interested to see if Kendrick Lamar like sings the diss track about Drake at halftime.
My daughter just told me the same thing about 15 minutes ago. Man, I wonder if he's going to actually do it. I'm going to laugh like crazy. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, the guy just won 5 Grammys while tearing apart another rapper for a song. Like, that's like, you cannot, like, that's how you lose a rap battle. Like, when the guy is well decorated for the quality of how badly he burnt you. Wow. Like, that's, we're going to have to call Mr. Pat Erickson to come take that fire out because he burnt. Like that's
I got you. Don't worry.
All right. So hope springs eternal. Cubs are reporting to camp. We're getting our first glimpse. There's some sites and sources out there. We're not going to point you to our competitors. You can find them yourself. No free ads of like of guys working out. There's folks coming in doing their bullpens. And yeah, I think, you know, we've seen the Pacoda projections. We've seen Fangraphs projections of how this team is expected to perform. Like the end of last year, we had Craig Counsell saying we need to be building 91 teams, and they are projected to win 90 games. Yep. So that being said, let's start talking about maybe the unfinished business in the room. Right. Alex Bregman has been repeatedly tied to this team for the last few weeks, a lot longer than I thought he would be tied to the team. There has even been sniffs from Matt Trueblood from Northside Baseball, some stuff from Jacob Zanoa from Cubs Insider talking about like creative structure deals the Cubs are working on. Our great friend and original co-founder, Bricks Behind the Ivy, Sean Hot Stuff Cubbies, has even had some intel of a post trade that would move specific money and assets off the roster for them to stay within whatever the baseball budget ends up being for the team, so they can afford Bregman, and that really seeming to surround like Nico Horner. Pat, what are your thoughts on the Cubs trying to acquire Alex Bregman? Is this something you feel like they need to do, or are there other issues still on the roster if they're still looking to add that you'd rather address?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of torn. Now, it's funny we're talking about this Bregman stuff. A few nights ago, I got together with some of my buddies, Al, Doug, and Keith. How are you? Anyway, and we were talking about this very same topic about Bregman. And my friend Al was saying that hopefully this isn't a situation to where he's just driving the price up and he has no intent of signing with the Cubs. I don't know. So that's one aspect to look at. As far as the Cubs themselves, I think he would be a good asset to get. I think it'd be another awesome bat, a bunch of solidify the lineup, solidify the fielding, etc. My only concern, and maybe it's just because how you are with Kyle Hendricks, I don't want to see them get rid of Nico Horner. I think that even amidst last season, with all the problems that they were having with the weather and he still had a pretty decent year. And I think that he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. And my problem is that if they do get rid of, a Nico Horner and you get Bregman, what are we going to get Bregman for maybe a year, maybe two? I don't know how that's good. The structure is going to work out. Whereas you may have him for 1 or 2 years and then he's gone, but you still have a guy in Nico Horner who hasn't hit the ceiling yet. And he has clearly solidified, the middle of the line, the middle of the infield with Dansby. Now, granted, I'm also a little bit of a homer because Nico says his favorite all-time Cub is Sandberg, learned from Rhino, etc. But that's the way I see it. I mean, I will be curious to see. It'd be great to get Bregman, but I'd be curious to see, though, at what cost. That's my point.
And I think that's the hot ticket item. And if you're listening or watching, make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments on Alex Bregman. There's 2 points I want to go over. That one I had seen recently and honestly had just put so far back in my mind. I guess I've just moved on from it, which is kind of weird. People don't want Alex Bregman because of his association with the cheating Astros. And I honestly had forgotten about either his so-called involvement. Obviously there was a lot of players involved and whatever punishment was handed out at that time. They've won a World Series since with that same group. So that was not something that I was thinking about. People were like, well, where does the line in integrity? And I'll counter immediately with, but Aroldis Chapman. And that's baseball is sticky. And we've already had the conversation about Trevor Bauer on this roster. There are lines in the sand. There are clear lines in the sand. And I don't think that I think the players and such have been weeded out. I think based on the punishment and this might be too broad strokes. I think there was a lot more of that going on than we were intimately aware 100%. Of. Yeah. And I think that this was the beginning of the crackdown because I think a line was crossed.
There is no doubt in my mind that that's going on all over baseball, minor leagues, major leagues, you name it. And I think, for lack of a better term, Houston just got dumb and complacent and was caught.
Yeah, period. I think maybe they use technology to simplify for those who might not have been picking up the signs, and because those types of players who would pick up on those things were lauded. There's plenty of videos and stuff. One that I think of is Anthony Rizzo used to pick up on tells on pitchers all the time. And that 2016 team, I think there was a moment where he had talked about what a guy was doing with his glove every time he threw a curveball. And I believe it was a Pirates pitcher. I'll try to find this video.
You're right. He had a tell.
And he came into the dugout and he's like, hey, every time he does this, he's throwing a curveball. Lay off. And Again, it's like that's perfectly legal in the game.
Mhm.
Like that's not cheating. Like if a guy is like tipping his pitches, like that's
He's
that's
dumb enough to tip. You might as well take advantage of it.
But
Yeah.
like if a player's not picking that up and they have like a buzzer or like digital device where they're being told something has happened quicker or in real time, that's a problem. So like,
or they're doing the thing in the garbage cans like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the trash throws. And you know, I'll put a link in. I had a really honest conversation with Jim Christopher over at Ballpark Nation, who's a huge Astros fan, and he talked about that scandal. I asked him questions about it. In one of the episodes I had him on when he had me on his show that's premiering soon on Amazon Prime. That's his Ballpark Nation. It's a show about traveling to different ballparks with your buddies, and he reviews them and gives people an idea of the whole experience. Brooks Behind the Ivy's on that. We were one of the first, things that were the first episode of that show. So that's super cool. But when he came on my show, I was hesitant to ask him and decided to ask, hey, you're an Astros fan. How did you take that? And like he gave like an amazing answer. I'll tag the link to that episode. And it really hit me hard because it made me think about what if it was the Cubs that did that? Like, what would I do? Like, would I stop rooting for the team? Would I defend them? Like, what are the things you're looking for? Like, how cognizant are you of like these things happening in other teams? And then like you have to get really defensive. He had a very similar situation where he had a grandchild that was born that year and was named after an Astros player. I'm like, what if I found out the Cubs were doing this stuff and I named my son after Kyle Hendricks, like I've talked about? Like, yeah, I would think very differently about all of those things. Baseball can be like very like we do this because we're emotionally connected to this team. So like, it's not this black and white situation, but. Yeah, I think the second thing you brought up, the money, and that has really been the thing that I've been weirdly focused on. It's interesting to think about like looking at Alex Bregman's numbers. He is got the same type of kind of contact rate that Nico Hoerner provides. He provides, pretty solid defense at the third base position. Nico provides elite defense at the second base position. But they are, remarkably similar hitters, but like Alex is squaring up the ball just like at a slightly higher rate, 96 percentile, which is getting him that extra power. So it's interesting to think that they kind of like, at least on a contact profile, that they are, can be seen as very similar players.
Nerd alert! Nerd
At the end of the day, like Alex Bregman, he was injured last year, and there are signs of aging and some regression. And paying a player like that, 25 to potentially 30 million a year annually. And there's the qualifying offer considerations of the draft pick compensation of signing a player that has a qualifying offer. The Cubs have to pay a draft pick penalty. So if they are going to do this deal, exactly what you said, it has to be for more than 1 year, because if you're giving up like draft capital and you're giving up financial flexibility to have this player, it has to be longer than a year. And I think that the only counter I'll have on the Nico Hoerner situation is it frustrates the crap out of me that we're having the conversation of either or. Like it should be Alex Bregman is affordable, and it should be Bregman and Nico Hoerner. And if they are the trade Nico Hoerner, I would be much more worried about like, all right, then flip him to the Padres and take on the last year of Cease's contract. That is a conversation I'm much more happy having, not let's give Nico Hoerner up for teenagers and just so we can have room to sign Alex Bregman. Like, I think that the floor of the team raises in that situation with Bregman. But like, I also would challenge, similar to last year with Matt Chapman, have an insanely elite infield defense with Bush, Hoerner, Dansby, and Bregman. And guys, don't give me the Matt Shaw takes. Like, where's he going to play? Like, you're blocking Matt Shaw. The 2016 Chicago Cubs, Jorge Soler, Kyle Schwarber, who's going to get more at bats? We were all super worried about it. An outfield collision with Dexter Fowler in Arizona the second weekend of the freaking season solved the problem. Baseball is cruel. Like, I'm not worried about if Matt Shaw's good. Matt Shaw's going to get at bats on this team. Like, don't tell me not to sign a player because we have Matt Shaw. Right now, Matt Shaw, do you know what his career batting average in the major leagues is? 0.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what Alex Bregman's is?
Well,
like, he's got a career batting average of 372 and 191 career home runs. So, like,
and here's the other thing: you're getting Bregman, and you just hit the nail on the head before about Bregman is coming off of injury plagued season.
Same with Nico.
Being said, you darn well know he's not going to play the whole year in 25.
No,
and I guarantee you, and I know people are going to roll their eyes when I say this, but if this was a situation, but instead of the Chicago Cubs, it was the LA Dodgers, what do you think they would do? They'd have them both.
Yeah,
and correct. I don't understand why. And it goes back to what we talked about a few weeks ago about how they're just breaking even. They're just breaking even. Even Joe at Obvious Shirts, which I got to get one of those, says we're just breaking even. One of the shirts, but I don't understand why. It looks to me, and I don't know about you, Jeff, but it looks to me that the Cubs are going all in this year. They have made a lot of good deals. Jeff Passan just wrote an article, I think a week or so ago, saying that the Cubs were one of the best teams this offseason as far as trades and acquisitions and yada, yada. But so based upon that, you are in an all going in season. Jed Hoyer, this might be either you do it or you're done, etc. So why not just go out and just go spend the money on Bregman? And, they're worried about the tax penalty. Well, when you got an average family of 4 and little kids, so there's no beer involved, that it's the 4th most expensive outing in Major League Baseball, and you're worried about a tax penalty, and you go around that neighborhood and you see the rooftops and the restaurants and the bars and the stores and yada, yada, just go out and sign them. Now, I don't know. But like I said, me personally, the other thing is, if you're going to get rid of, or I shouldn't say get rid of, trade Nico Horner, why do it for that? I would be getting him for something bigger than Bregman. And I know people are going to be like, what are you kidding me? I'm looking at it from the youth standpoint. And if you're going to be getting rid of Nico Horner in some sort of a trade, you'd want a great elite bat or pitcher, but someone that's got a little bit of youth on their side, not a Bregman.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Cubs have him through 2026 on a pretty team-friendly deal, $11.6 million a year. And that's a good deal, especially Nico Horner can play shortstop. There's a lot of teams always looking for a guy that can pick it. And he has shown gold glove level defense at shortstop. We know he has gold glove level defense at second base. And the guy's just a gamer. Like, he's going to go, if you have to glue him together, he's going to be on the ball field. Like, he played, there was clearly something holding his power back. It wasn't just the Winston Wrigley. And it turned out it was a wrist injury. And we got Dansby Swanson, who had a hernia and played through it. These guys are tough dudes. So
we can't get rid of them. We've got to keep them here.
There you go. I want to show props. I'm already I'm buying baseball cards. Stage of the new baseball season where I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to a baseball card store and I'm going to go spend money I don't have to buy things I don't need.
But a quick side note, and I don't know let me ask you this question. Do you miss the bubble gum?
I do. I thought it was it was kind of like a perk.
I grossed out my son once. We were at a baseball card shop, and I bought a 87 Donruss or whatever it was. And yes, because there's nothing up here, actually ate the gum. It disintegrated into dust. But yeah, but I do miss the bubble gum though. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was fun, and I don't know. The hobby has changed so much. That's a topic for another episode. It's super pricey. I don't know. And, Fanatics, similar to, their distribution to those lousy MLB jerseys from last year, they own Topps and Bowman and all these companies. There's no differentiation, and they control the hobby now. And to get the player, with the ones with the little pieces of their uniform and stuff, you have to spend $200 on these hobby boxes, and it comes with 11 cards. And it's just come on.
It's so stupid.
It's everything else. They prey on.
COVID ramped it up too, because I remember because nobody could do anything, and then that's when they started. It was like you were buying prescription medication. It was behind the counter at a Target, and you could only buy 2, and Like
It's still that way. That's like the target timing. Yeah, you're allowed to have buy 3 packs of Pokemon cards, and people are pulling guns on each other. And I know some people who knew with the Pokemon cards, especially that you could weigh the box, and if it was above a certain weight, you knew that there were more foil cards in it. And so people would bring gram scales to the Target aisles and put the boxes on.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. But
science in Pokemon cards.
That's why when there's significant income inequality, people go to these hobbies and hope that they can turn it into something imagine you love the Cubs and you start a podcast and so let's move on from Bregman. If you got some additional thoughts on what the Cubs should do, make sure you're leaving some thoughts in the comments, especially if you're not watching the YouTube. You should, because there's a bunch of fun bells and whistles.
What's wrong with you? Get on
you
it.
Get to look at my face made for radio a little bit longer. And you can see when I hit Nerd Alert, I've got my thick glasses on to show you that I'm good at math. So come check those out. It's a little bit of an added value. So last topic of the day, and we'll start probably rolling on season preview and stuff the next few weeks. But if you had to grade the offseason, Pat, we'll start with you today, thinking that the Cubs are potentially done, which God only knows. Only Jed Hoyer and maybe Tom Ricketts knows. How would you grade this offseason for the Cubs, and why would you give that grade?
To be honest with you, I think this has been one of the more active off seasons that I've seen the Cubs have had in a while. As far as a grade is concerned, I probably would give them right now about a B minus. And I think that they did address a lot of the issues, but they did address some bullpen issues. The bats and everything else. They were able to, and it's not just the acquisitions and who they got, but it's how they reshaped the team. They were able to, the Cody Bellinger experiment was over. They got rid of him. They were able to kind of reshape the ball club a little bit. I would say probably about a B minus. I would like to see them possibly go out and get one more big bat, and hopefully the weather will be more friendly out of the friendly confines this year. Yeah. And I wouldn't mind them getting one more arm. I know, and you just mentioned it a few minutes ago, the whole Dylan Cease thing. And I know Crawley's been talking about it with Dustin Rhodes on their podcast too. But, the whole Dylan Cease versus, what can he do? Can the Cubs afford him? Blah, blah, blah. So, but yeah, I would probably go ahead and give them a B minus. I honestly, too, I don't think they're done. I think that there's going to be one or two more deals, maybe not blockbusters, but one or two more deals done sometime during spring training, and then we'll see from there. But how about you? What do you think?
I'm going to go with a solid B, and I'm going to have some very specific things on why. So when I looked at this team going into last year and then going into this offseason, my thought process was they need a big bat for the lineup to really galvanize this group, because they have a bunch of good players. They don't have great players. They need a front end pitcher for the rotation, and they need swing and miss stuff, either in the rotation, in the bullpen, or rotation and the bullpen, because a lot of the guys on this team are contact oriented. So have they achieved that? That's really, and we had the same problems going into 2023 season or 2024 season, and we had the same problems going into this season. And I'm giving them a B. I'm going to give them a solid B, a little higher than your B minus, because they've sort of achieved them. They've replaced Cody Bellinger, who was, we can argue about what his health was last year, which I think is a huge factor of what his production is. But if we do look at his health last year, he was a little bit different of a player. But so I'm going to slide back to 2023 to when Kyle Tucker and Cody Bellinger were healthy. When the Cubs got rid of Cody Bellinger, I figured it makes sense if he's not going to play first base, but then you need a bat in the lineup. By getting rid of Cody Bellinger, you've actually created a hole in the offense. And Seiya Suzuki is a solid baseball player. He's a very, very good baseball player. He's underrated, very good offensive player. But adding Kyle Tucker, for example, in 2023, Kyle Tucker was the 17th ranked player in wins above replacement on the offensive side. and Cody Bellinger was the 18th player. So based on their last full seasons of health, we've upgraded one slot from Cody Bellinger to Kyle Tucker. But I've always thought that this offense needed that and funny enough, a player in 2024 and a player in 2023 that was in the top 30 for WAR offensively is Alex Bregman. So there is a potential for me to like shift that grade to a B plus because you have extended this lineup. Maybe Matt Shaw has that production, but I am definitely, I'm going to say, anxious about the idea of PCA, Michael Bush, Miguel Amaya, and what they are for this group offensively. If they have to be hot to raise the floor of like Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, and Ian Happ. Right. I'm not concerned about the production of Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki. I know what they are, but I am concerned about a large group of this offense, and that I think Alex Bregman fixes that issue. The other side of that coin is the pitching. They did not get a front end of the rotation arm. Like they don't have a guy that is your bona fide ace. But I also feel like that is absolutely discrediting like what I think Justin Steele is. I think Justin Steele's value is really, really high. Keeping him healthy is going to be important. And like Shota Imanaga is a great pitcher. But like with that, the Jameson Taillon regression is going to be real because if Wrigley Field plays like Wrigley Field again, like his numbers are the ones that are going to blow up. And he's a great
one guy I was very shocked that the Cubs did not move.
I think it's the contract, honestly. And like, if you listen to the interview last week with Ben Brewster and Tyler Zombro, like they all talk about like A+ human preparation, what JMO is. So I feel like he's like the Hector Neris of the rotation group. Like he's going to bring professionalism, process, and stuff to like Cade Horton, Ben Brown, Birdsell, who are going to make starts for this club this year, and he's going to be able to help them out. Like so, I always feel like there needs to be a guy like that. Yeah, Matthew Boyd is a sneaky signing. I think he's going to strike out more guys. But he hasn't put like this huge body of work together. And the Cubs really have addressed the back of the bullpen a lot better this year than they have in years prior. But yeah, and like we've got Presley and Hodge back there. So like we're already starting this year with like I didn't want to start the year with Hodge as the closer. And not because I have an issue with Hodge. I just wanted to have another guy because last year we were like, it's definitely Adbert. Like Adbert's the guy. And he just wasn't. Like bullpens are so finicky. So like we have this robust like group that are options. We got Eli Morgan. We got different looks. We got strikeout guys. So like the bullpen feels like it's in way better shape. So I'm giving it a B because it is better than last year, and last year's team ended up being like an 83-win team, which was average. Right. So I think we're above average. I'm worried that the Pacoda stuff is inflated because the rest of this division like did nothing. The Cardinals just recently spent their first dollars in the offseason. Like they were one of 3 teams left that had not spent any money on free agents this year. The other one, the Milwaukee Brewers, they have done nothing.
They have done nothing.
Yeah. So like, and like, I would like to make fun of that, but like, I've done that every year and it's blown up in my face. So like, I just like it is, but I think they are going to take a step back. Like they're going to miss Corbin.
How could you not?
They don't have Devin. Yeah, they don't have Devin Williams anymore. He's a Yankee. Josh Hader's an Astro. Like that back end bullpen that won them so many games is gone. So we'll really see. Like Jackson Churio, I think is a budding star. But like if Christian Yelich isn't what he was, and that lineup's got some real holes, if you're gonna run William Contreras out 155 games as a catcher, like you're gonna see the decline in offense that he provided last year. So like the team that scares me, and we'll get into that later, but like the Reds, I think the Reds are dangerous.
The Reds always scare me. I don't know. They always seem to have our number when it's at Wrigley. I don't know why.
And now they have a manager worth of crap, and that's terrifying because they got Terry Francona this offseason. And
exactly.
If you're looking for frontline starter stuff, like they have 2, Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo. Like they're both really good pitchers. Their bullpen is finally not a mess. Like the thing is that's going to be hard with them is defense. They have a lot of really young kids that have really, really good skills and bats. Ellie De La Cruz, cover of the new MLB The Show, like super fun player to watch, super fast, super strong, switch hitter. like he's going to be like the middle of that lineup. No other manager in the game I feel like will be able to manage him like Tito. Like he has years of experience with a guy who did all those things like Jose Ramirez in the small market. So like he has experience managing those types of players. Like they could be really scary. I definitely, that's the team I'm looking at. But yeah, the rest of them, like the Cardinals are taking a very planned step back. The Pirates have decided that Jared Jones and Paul Skeens isn't enough to try to compete. So they're not like they didn't add anything, but we're still going to see Jared Jones and Paul Skeens probably 5 times this year between the two of them. So yeah, I'm giving the Cubs a solid B. I feel like I was way too positive, so I'm going to start a little negative this year. Yourself, buddy. With that being said, what do you think the Cubs grades offseason? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and we always reply to our comments here at BBTI, so make sure you check those out. But I think that's enough for today. Any final thoughts, Pat, before we let the nice people go?
No, look forward to
sounds like that's like a hostage thing, though. Like, no, you chose to listen. Like, you're free to go whenever you want.
Unlock the basement door. No. Like I said, folks, you have to be positive. You have to be happy about what's been going on with this team. I think it's a better situation. Council's going to have more of his coaching guys there. I have a good vibe, and we just have to be positive. Let's see what spring training is going to look like. Let's hope and pray that nobody's hurt. And we hope to see all you guys out at the old ballpark come into March, beginning of April. You're going to see some BBTI action out at 1060 West Addison, so look out.
Yeah, and stay tuned for as the days get closer for MLB The Show coming out. I will be streaming that game the day it comes out on March 18th and staying up all night to watch the 3:30 a.m. first pitch of the Cubs opening day in Japan. So stay tuned for that.
When we smack those Dodgers.
Exactly. And in his opening presser, Craig Counsell said he thinks it's a legal requirement for Shota Imanaga to pitch in that series, which is funny. I do enjoy that. So it'll probably be Shota on opening day in Japan, which is really cool.
Probably.
Until next time, go Cubs. See you later, Brickheads.